I remember in 1997, I walked into a bike shop, Track Cycles at Westfield Marion in Adelaide, South Australia, and I saw a blue racer bike. It was an Avanti Team Corsa with 8-speed tricolour Ultegra. If you know, you know. And I looked at that bike and I was like, damn, it had the Eastern tubing, had some Mavic CX P30s on there, and the sales assistant, salesman, John, who was an absolute legend, sold me the bike. He's like, man, this is a killer bike. It's normally $3,000. It's clear out for $2,000. This is your size. Do a bike fit. You got a road bike? I said, no, looking for one. Guys, mate, this is the best bike. So he sold, and it was a killer bike. He sold me the bike in terms of sales talk. He got me hyped up, and I'm like, oh, actually, I don't have $2,000. And he's like, okay, well, yes, this is the last one here. There's 2 left, and yeah, he put it on lay-by, put a deposit down. And I was walking out of the shop and I was thinking, fucking hell, $2,000, that's a lot of money, you know, but I want this bike. I'm going to get this bike. I'm not going to break any laws. I'm going to do it legit. And so I contacted a friend who worked at a factory and I said, Wayne, all right, any jobs there? And he's like, I'll go to this job agency and tell them you're interested. So I went to the job agency and caught the bus. It was like a 40-minute bus ride into the city. And I was sitting on the bus thinking, I should just ridden my bike in. And so I caught the bus all dressed up nicely and went in there to the office, and I got this receptionist, this big frumpy Coke Zero drinking receptionist. Well, back then in 97 it would have been Diet Coke. And she's like, hey, I'll take your resume and we'll call you, thanks. And I just felt really brushed off by it. And I left there just walking to the bus stop thinking, she's just going to throw my resume in the bin. And I got on the bus. And I caught the 40-minute bus ride back home. It was almost like an hour door to door. And then I got home and I was like, fuck, man, like, fuck this. And I jumped on my bike, rode back the 20 Ks to town. And by then it was the afternoon. I said, hey, any jobs coming? She said, look, you were just in here before, weren't you? I said, yeah, I was just no. There's no jobs, okay? We'll call you. And I rode there every day. And on the Friday, I went there twice a day. I would ride in the morning, chill out during the town, check in the afternoon, and come back out. And this chick, mate, she was right full Karen. Back in 97, Karens did exist. And she was just frumping. And at the end of the week, she's creating this stir so much. Well, I'm looking for a job. She's like, yeah. And she's just full on frumping, all right? Full Diet Coke, Coke Zero style Karen. And there's this manager guy. He sort of sticks his head, and he could feel the tension between me and this Coke Zero Karen. And he's like, "Hey, is there anything all right? Everything's okay in here?" And she's like, "This guy has come back again. You're feeling harassed." And he's like, "Mate, come down here. And he's like, "What's going on?" Like, I've seen you here. You know, what's going on? He goes, well, I said, "Dude, I want a job." And he's like, "You've been here every day." So I've been here twice a day. He goes, "Come in my office." And his name was John. And for my dad's name. And so we're going to his office. He goes, "What's your experience?" I said, I got no experience. He goes, "Oh." He goes, "But you're pretty keen, aren't you?" I said, "Mate, I'll work for free. I want a job. Anything, you know." He's like, "Start tonight, and there's a place called Cast Alloy, and you'll be doing night shift." I said, "All right, thanks." And that was the factory that my friend worked at, so it was just timing. So I got a lift with him that night. Night shift in the factory, doing manifolds, V8 manifolds to Commodore Holden cars. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was dropping shit on the floor. It was a production line. People are screaming at me, "You fucking blah, blah, blah." And I was just like, holy shit. But I was just thinking, I want this fucking Avanti bike. All right, I want the Team Corsa. I need $2,000. So I was working 6-7 days a week. I was getting paid $100 a shift. And I was just like doing whatever I could. And the first night, I was... The supervisor's like, "Harley," he's like, "Mate, you're fucking shit, alright? Sorry, mate, but you're just shit." And back in the 90s, supervisors could say that without you having a Me Too moment. And he's like, "Look, I'm going to show you one more time how to do this line with the manifolds, and if you can't get it, I'm sorry, mate, we're just going to have to send you home. We have to let you go, alright? This is your trial shift. I'll show you one more time, pay attention." And in my head, I was thinking, fuck, Harley, just like, you got to get this shit locked down, man. And something clicked in my head. I'm like, I've got no choice. I need to get this machine fucking working properly. I can't be fucking the line up. And I just fucking aced it. All right. And then the guy's supervisor, Rob, this is like 1997. I remember his name. Rob comes back an hour later. He's like, "I don't know what the fuck you're doing, Harley, but you're doing a great fucking job. Keep it fucking up." And I was crushing it. And the other guys in line go, mate, good work, mate. Good, finally, you're fucking doing it, And I was cranking it. I was doing so well, I had time just to sort of stretch and chill a bit, all right? I was working so effectively and efficiently. And I just, boom, I went from like about to get sacked to just cranking it, just in the split moment, all right? And then I worked there for about 4 weeks. And it was really, really crazy timing. And then like, hey, you want to go full time? And this place was toxic, man, in terms of the fumes. And you'd come home and your hair was crusted with this shit. This factory was so toxic in terms of chemical exposure, it was shut down by the Australian government, the work health safety, work cover, etc. So it was shut down in the end. And when they said, do you want to go full time? I was just thinking, man, this shit's fucking toxic, breathing it in. But I got my $2,000. I said, look, I might be going back to study. I just been nice about it. And they said, no worries. And they sacked me that night. They let me go that night because they wanted full-time workers. But I had my cash. So I went in there, got my bike, boom, cranking. Got the $2,000, got the bike, bought the bike. They did a bike fit on me. I rode the bike home. It felt like shit. I rang them up, said, John, like, I don't know if I can ride this bike. It feels so uncomfortable. Like, can I get my money back? He's like, look, just we'll fit you out, ride it for a week, you adapt to it, and we'll go from there. And he was right. Or after a week of riding, my shoulders relaxed, I got used to the saddle angles and stuff, and then boom. Rest is fucking history. Started racing, started doing crits, blah, blah, blah. But it was just a lesson of like, if you want something in life, you make it fucking happen, man. All right? And so in life, if you tell someone, you don't have to tell someone once. If they really want it, they're going to fucking get it. Just like Rob, the foreman, the supervisor, who showed me how to move the manifolds on the production line, so I got it, so I kept my job. All right? He only had to show me that one real time. Like, look, Harley, this is how you do it. All right? Or maybe twice he showed me. The first time I wasn't paying attention. The second time I was like, I bad attention because I got my job on the line here. So maybe 2 times you got to tell someone something, okay? But generally once. If someone really wants it, once is generally enough, 2 maximum. If they don't want it after that, then let it go. Save your breath, save your time. It's all right. Next person. So that's the reality. That's my deal. That's how I got my first ever road bike. $2,000, 8-speed, alloy wheels, alloy frame. Titanium flight saddle, which was the worst saddle ever looking back. But it got me started and it got me addicted. All right. So it's, but these days bikes, you can get the same level of bike for $200, $300 Australian. It's insane. And you can make that collecting cans. There's pros and cons to these days, but these days, making money is so much easier than it was back in the 90s because you've got the internet. It's crazy. Back then it was 5 cents a can. Now it's 10 cents a can. People just throw them out. It's crazy. I could do 2 days on the cans, all right, in the fresh air and get the same or a little bit better level of bike than it took me a month, 4 weeks working night shifts in a factory so toxic it was shut down. That's what we're talking about. 97 versus 2024. If you know, you know. Just wanted to shout out to John, who worked at Track Cycles, was just an absolute gentleman and a legend. I would go in there, he would fix my bike for free for the most of the part. He would give me deals on stuff. He was just so good at customer service. He knew how to create customer loyalty. All right. Then eventually I got a 9-speed 7700 Durace group set, and then I upgraded to an Avanti Team Corsa Carbonio, and then he sold me a pair of Mavic Serum SLs, and he was just on it. All right. He was just such a good salesman, given the deals, the service, little free tune-ups here and there. And then my mate Ashley ended up working there, and it was just a great atmosphere in the bike shop. So a shout out to John. I'm not sure what he's doing these days, but he was just a master at the bike industry. And he was a guy who would just grab this. It was 97, so I was 20 years of age. He got a 20-year-old bro and got him into the bike world and just gave me a really good experience in road cycling. So people say, Harley, you're so generous with your time and you help people out. That's because I have motherfuckers like John out there, legit mofos like John, helping me out, all right? And I was like, damn. And so I look up to that level of character. So if I help you, pay that on, all right? Pay it forward to someone else, and that's how we grow the cycling community. So that's why when I see these snake oil sellers selling $200 wax chains and just overcomplicating simple jobs, or the big brands shilling these bullshit product, all right, forcing local bike shop, to sell these crappy items and no longer selling or producing quality bikes for bike shops to sell like they did back in the 90s and 2000s. That irks me, and that's why I prattle along here on the internet. So yeah, cycling's where it's at, man. And because of John, like, what if John didn't happen? What if he didn't? What if John was undercarb that day when I walked into the bike shop and he was sitting at the back drinking a Coke Zero instead of a full sugar Coke, and he's like, can't be fucked talking to this young punk, And I just walk out the shop. Right? That is the importance of carbohydrate. Gas, energy. John always had fucking energy, man. The dude's full of sugar, getting it fucking done. Right? He always had time to talk. That takes energy. That takes sugar. That takes carbohydrate. Energy's everything, man. Energy's the foundation of your life. Right? Energy's like, how many hot chicks or hot bros out there you see live a miserable existence or a lesser existence because they don't have the energy to chase after their goals or to really deliver. If you know, you know. Energy's everything, man. And the more carbohydrate you consume, the more you can sleep better, and then you build that energy. That muscle glycogen becomes fuel, and you get the energy, etc., etc., etc. Okay? You sleep better, and you recharge your batteries, and that gives you the energy. Anyway, shout out to John. Shout out to all the crew out there who really kickstarted me off on my cycling lifestyle. It's so important, people. If you're an experienced person, you got to pay it forward. All right, you really got to pay it forward. But anyway, that's the video there. That's how I got into cycling. My first road bike experience. Good times. Good times.